Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into the intense daily data of the SWERTRES cycle system to unpack the highly anticipated May 11 closeout report. If you've been tracking the v6.3 development data, you know we are standing on the edge of a massive statistical cliff right now. Honestly, even if you don't play, the sheer mathematical tension between absolute randomness and extreme statistical pressure is just absolutely fascinating. We are looking at unprecedented gaps, system anomalies, and a pressure buildup that is pushing the predictive models to their absolute limit. So, we're going to break down exactly what the data is telling us, how the system is categorizing these rare events, and what it all means as we head into tomorrow's draws. All right, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the May 12 anomaly, decode some of that system v6.3 terminology, check out the May 11 evidence, explore the extreme silence of anomaly A34, and finally, look at randomness and the data. Let's get right to it. Section 1. The May 12 anomaly, a pressure cooker. We're starting right at the climax of the v6.3 data report, focusing on a massive upcoming event that the system has flagged.
So, the million-dollar question the model poses is, why exactly is May 12th the highest pressure day of 2026? Well, it highlights an unprecedented buildup of statistical pressure leading into tomorrow's draws. According to the end-of-day closeout for May 11th, the statistical saturation index has dropped to a near minimum of roughly 45%. To put that into perspective, it's basically acting like a tightly coiled spring. The system is tracking multiple dormant cycles that have hit their breaking points all at the same time, creating this incredibly rare convergence. Because of this, May 12th is mathematically flagged as the highest probability day of the entire 2026 dataset for a major CDX correction. What does that mean? It essentially just means that several long overdue number groupings are mathematically cornered and they are due to hit. And this number brilliantly illustrates the stakes. Cycle 22 has hit a pressure score of 99 out of 100. It's entered an absolute crisis mode. Out of a maximum score of 100, hitting a 99 means the statistical rubber band is stretched literally as far as the model has ever recorded. But you might be wondering, how exactly does the SWERTRES system calculate a score like 99? What specific behaviors push a cycle into this critical red zone?
That brings us to Section 2, Decoding System v6.3 Terminology, the Rules of the Game. To understand how we reach that massive pressure score, we first need to reverse engineer the math and define the specific framework of System v6.3. The crucial point here is understanding how the efficiency increment works. It tracks whether a cycle delivers fresh data or simply recycles old numbers. When a cycle hits, the system asks, is this a clean delivery, meaning it's a totally new combination for that cycle's active period? Or is it a recycled delivery, meaning the cycle is just spitting out a combination we've already seen, kind of wasting its turn? Tracking this gives us the efficiency index, which tells us if the system is actually resolving missing numbers or if it's just treading water. Now, what's really interesting is the introduction of a newly coined term, NMC, or non-missing clean. This happens when a cycle acts active but still dodges its core missing numbers. Imagine a cycle is missing the number 316. It finally delivers a completely new clean hit, but the number is 308. It's clean, sure, but it's not the missing base. This non-missing clean status is a vital clue that a cycle is orbiting its target. It's active, it's hovering, but it's actively avoiding that final resolution. Moving on to Section 3, May 11, the evidence. Let's look at the actual data hits from May 11 and see how these definitions perfectly apply to today's 3 confirmed draws. This perfectly captures the day's efficiency index of +2, and it really turns the daily hits into a fascinating mini-story. At 2 p.m., Cycle 11 delivered A34, but looking at the historical record, that already hit back on March 27th, so it's purely recycled. Then at 5 p.m., Cycle 1 delivered a beautiful, clean reactivation hit after a 13-day gap with the number 320. And finally, at 9 p.m., Cycle 9 delivered 308. As we just discussed, 308 is clean, but Cycle 9's actual missing base is 316. It completely sidestepped the target, giving us a textbook example of that tricky, non-missing clean delivery right at 9 p.m. We also see Cycle 11 caught in an orbiting loop, recycling data and ignoring its missing base 625, which creates a really fascinating sub-anomaly. Because of that recycled 2 p.m. hit today, Cycle 11 has now delivered 3 times in May, 784, 376, and 034, without hitting its missing base, 625. The system rules state that if a cycle hits 4 times without resolving its base, it formally enters a loop state. The very next time Cycle 11 hits will be the absolute defining moment for this anomaly. Which leads us to Section 4. extreme silence, anomaly A34. This brings us to the most critical finding in the explainer, the phenomenon the data flags as anomaly A34.
An environmental saturation drop like this acts like a giant dam holding back water. The pressure is immense because the trio of CDX cycles, cycle 17, 21, and 22, has gone completely silent. For 9 consecutive draw slots across May 9th, 10th, and 11th, not a single one of these cycles has shown up. This marks the most extreme non-delivery streak the model has documented all year. Entering May 12th, this anomaly hits day 3, creating a statistical vacuum that absolutely demands a correction.
Seeing the 52-day gap of cycle 21 tower over the others really emphasizes the sheer magnitude of this extreme silence. Look at the numbers here. Cycle 17 has been quiet for 25 days, which is already a massive delay since it breached its mathematical limit at day 21. But then you have cycle 22 at 50 days and cycle 21 at a mind-bending 52 days. The system model suggests that cycle 21 has far exceeded its historical threshold, meaning a forced correction isn't just overdue, it's structurally imminent. The model suggests that cycle 22 is at the breaking point, carrying a 42% probability of forced correction on May 12th. It's designated as priority 0. It's sitting on a 50-day gap and is hoarding 7 unique missing triple combinations. Just think about this. The combination 999 hasn't been seen since July of 2025. That is a 10-month gap. It's almost absurd. Because of this incredible pent-up demand, if cycle 22 breaks on May 12th, it will trigger the beginning of the end for the massive A34 anomaly we just looked at. Moving on to our final section, Section 5, Randomness and the Data. While the system tracks these staggering gaps, we must evaluate what this actually means from a statistical and modeling perspective. The evolution of the system shows a transition away from rigid rules into fluid, probabilistic tracking of cluster windows and draw slot specializations. V6.0 simply looked for rules. But as we reach V6.3, the system is utilizing advanced data analysis to understand exactly how the numbers behave when they are under pressure. It's not just about what is missing, but when and how the system tends to release that pressure. And the data hints at a really compelling theory where specific time slots, like the 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. draws, act as magnets for breaking these long anomalies. In the May 2026 dataset, 3 consecutive reactivation events happened in late-day slots. Cycle 19 broke at 9 p.m., Cycle 15 broke at 9 p.m., and today, Cycle 1 broke at 5 p.m. It strongly implies that the 2 p.m. slot is mostly just noise and recycled numbers, while the evening draws are doing the heavy lifting to correct these massive statistical gaps. Now, we must heavily emphasize the system's own strict disclaimer. These are independent random events, and the model is tracking behavioral probability, not mapping out guaranteed futures. It is absolutely crucial to remember this. A 52-day gap is incredibly rare, yes, for sure, but the lottery machine itself has no memory. The balls tumbling in the machine don't know that combination 999 hasn't hit since July 2025. The SWERTRES Cycles V6.3 system is an educational tool mapping cluster density and mathematical probability, not a crystal ball. So, as we close this explainer, the data leaves us wondering exactly when the dam will break and how the system will absorb the shock when it finally does. We are watching the highest pressure environment recorded in the 2026 data. Will Cycle 22 finally release its missing triples tomorrow? Will the evening draw slots continue to act as anomaly breakers? The math says we are on the edge of a major correction, but the random nature of the draw always has the final word. How long can anomaly hold out against pure probability? Keep your eyes on the data, and we will see exactly how the numbers fall. Thanks for joining this explainer.